Cody.
And I'm Shawn.
And I'm Cody. Welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, a new game review website. What makes us different from all the other game review websites out there?
But seriously, there are plenty of great websites out there. For example, you have Board Game Geek, who has information on just about every board game ever made. And Tom Vassell at Dice Tower has hundreds of great reviews on his website.
Will Wheaton has a great show on YouTube called Tabletop, where he plays a lot of these games with various celebrities. And the boys at Shut Up and Sit Down put out a great review site every week, despite the handicap of being British.
We're not so interested in breaking down the rules on these games. Other great websites do that just fine. What we're trying to convey is the flavor of these games.
Did somebody say flavor?
No. Like many great works of art, all right, they have to move you on an emotional level, create an amazing experience. Those are the types of games we would like to express to you. The experience, the emotion. But just what games are we talking about? Take it away, Cody.
Now, what many of you know, and maybe some of you don't know, is that we're living in a truly remarkable age of board gaming. Never before in the history of the world have so many great board games been produced and available. Now, it used to be that games based on intellectual properties were bland, unimaginative affairs. They looked great, but they didn't really have any great gameplay. But now, games based on IPs like Star Wars or Marvel comic books are really a lot of fun. And there's new and original games being produced every single year. Here we are, the game store. Let's take a look. This is Settlers of Catan. It's a classic game in the modern era. It's all about resource management, building up villages and roads, and trading with your opponents. It's great fun. And if you want a science fiction version of it, here's one based on an obscure 1960s television show called Star Trek. I think it starred Raymond Burr, I don't know. Now this is one of my favorite games, Battlestar Galactica. It's just like a TV series. You're going to be going around the galaxy and trying to defeat Cylons and working on problems on board the ship. But here's the thing. One of you is secretly a Cylon working against everybody else. That's right, one or more of you is a traitor, a full-on Alger Hiss traitor. And what's more... What? You still think Alger Hiss is innocent? Grow up. This is Letters from Whitechapel, a game all about Jack the Ripper, because everybody likes games about murder. Here's another Perry Mason game. Here's a game called Magay Knigget. This is Game of Thrones, the board game. All of the intrigue of the TV series. It's really great, without the naked girls.
Well, now that you've seen some of these great games, you're probably thinking you'd like to play some of them. But that little man inside you is probably saying, I'd rather play some video games. Well, you tell that little man to shut his mouth. You tell him to shut it good, or I will cut him with this knife. Cut him right out of your body. I'm just kidding. I'm not a violent person. But seriously, why should you play these games? Well, there's several reasons. I mean, in an age where you can sit down in front of a TV with digital buttons and controllers in your hand, there's something to be said for the tactile feel of sitting down with a board in front of you. The wooden and plastic pieces you can feel in your hand. Well, there's nothing more thrilling to me than rolling the dice, waiting for that perfect roll. Nothing more invigorating than knocking over a horde of zombies in Zombicide or throwing wooden pieces into a volcano of Pompeii. There's just something engaging and exciting about real-life pieces you hold in your hand.
Second, whenever you walk away from a board or a card game, you feel like you've used your brain. Now, there's a lot of other activities out there like video games that will force you to break a mental sweat, I get it, but there's something really magic about board and card games. They force you to use logic to overcome uncommon problems. Games like Caverna, Lords of Waterdeep, Resistance, Russian Railroads, all these sorts of games and more will really engage with you. You feel like you're smarter when you walk away from them.
Third, there's nothing quite like watching a story unfold in front of you. Whether it be a movie or a radio show, but the difference is with a board game, you actually get to control the story that's unfolding in front of you. And even more exciting, after the game is over, you get to relive those stories with your friends, talking about the dice roll that almost happened or that one unfortunate card you drew. will Cthulhu win this time in Arkham Horror? Or perhaps will the Germans beat the Allies this time and act as an allies? Or will Baron Van Candy Drop stop the Candy Kids from getting through Mud Drop Falls? We don't know. It's up to us, the players, to create that story. And then we get to enjoy retelling it after it's over.
Which brings us to the fourth and most important reason to play board games, the people. There's really something wonderful that happens when you sit down with a group of your friends and family, people you love, and you play a game. Board games are filled with laughter and tension and drama. And something happens when you invest yourself in that cardboard and plastic in front of you. Almost imperceptibly, you become totally invested in each other. It really is magic.
True. You know, there is nothing more important than the people.
Ah! Shawn! Why?
You knew what I was when you asked me to review board games with you.
Do you want to go review a board game right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Today, we're going to take a look at Twilight Struggle, a quasi-war game that claims to recreate the intrigue and suspense of the Cold War.
That's right. Shawn, I gotta tell you, I really love that Uncle Sam outfit and the way you've really gotten into the spirit of this game.
Thanks, Cody. And I like how you've really gotten into the spirit of the game with your drab, humble communist clothing, your round, Khrushchev-like face, that blank stare that just screams public education, your propensity to always split the bill perfectly even, although we know that you ate more onion rings than the rest of us, and your unwillingness to name names even though you are full aware who egged my car last week, and your complete lack of overall hygiene that will ensure that no one ever loves you. You have really brought the whole feel of communism to the table. Well, anyway, on with the review.
Yeah, let's review the game now.
Twilight Struggle is a grand strategic game in which two players representing the United States and the Soviet Union vie for world domination.
Over the course of 10 turns, you're going to get a hand of cards. And these can either be played for their operational point value or for the event. Now, these are actual historical events like the Berlin blockade or the Korean War or Jimmy Carter's Smile of Death. I don't have the card here for that right now.
Now, if you play the card for its operational point value, you'll be placing these little influence chits all over the board.
Are you chit all over the board?
Shut up, Justin! What you want is to get your influence to match or better yet exceed the nation's stability number. That means you control it. When you control it, it takes 2 points for your opponent to lay down one of their chits here. You always have to have more points in a nation above the stability number than your opponent in order to control it. If the stability number is 3 and I've got 4 points in there and my opponent has 2, I have to have 1 more point to gain control of it.
Now, if you play your card for its event, any number of kooky things might happen. Your opponent might have to remove some of his chits from the board, and you might get to play some of your chits. But the Olympics might happen. You may form NATO or the Warsaw Pact. Ronald Reagan may give his tear down the wall speech, or Castro might have his revolution in Cuba. And every so often, you're going to get one of these, a scoring card. If you get a scoring card, you have to play it on your turn. So for instance, if it's a European scoring card like this, you're going to want to put as many of your chits in Europe as you can before you play this card.
The problem is your opponent will see what you are doing and then start placing his own influence in Europe before you play that scoring card. And this is war. You're both trying to make the best of your hand before the scoring card is played.
If both players have scoring cards for different regions at the same time, you've got some tough decisions to make.
When the scoring card is played, you're going to add up a whole lot of different factors to award points. Then, you award the points. Here's the thing. The score isn't static. It's a tug of war. When the Soviet Union gains points, the United States loses points, and vice versa.
Now, it's not all that easy, however. You'll notice that some of these cards have a white star in the corner, and some of them have a red star in the corner for the American and the Soviet player. Well, every turn you have to play virtually every one of your cards. So what this means is if you're the Soviet player and you play a card with a white star in the corner for its operational point value, you trigger the event that helps the USA player, and vice versa. You're going to be shooting yourself in the foot, sometimes multiple times per turn, because you have to play the cards.
And this This is the sheer brilliance of the game. You're constantly making the best of a bad situation. If you got a scoring card in Europe and you want to play some influence in there, you're probably going to have to give up some area in Asia. Or if you want to make a move in South America, more than likely you're going to have to give up something in Africa.
It's more intense than a mobile army surgical hospital.
Really, Justin? Really? It's all about constant bleeding. I mean, you're never really sure. Even in a decisive victory, you're never 100% sure if you're making the right decisions. I mean, it's constantly sacrificing for the greater good. And I mean, you never really know if you've won the game until that final tally.
This is a game that can pivot so quickly, players are constantly going to be on their guard. You're always winning somewhere, but always losing somewhere else. This keeps the game fresh and players on their toes. There's a lot of different avenues to victory here, and like a great chess match, you can't just worry about what it is you want to do, you always have to keep looking at what the other guy is up to.
And yet, for all of its seeming complexities, it's a relatively simple game. I mean, you won't find yourself poking your head inside the rulebook once you've played the game once or twice.
Now hold on, you just hold on a minute now. The Cold War was about more than just simple area controlling and gaining influence all around the world. It's about the space race and government coups and the instability of communist China and global thermonuclear war.
Yeah, that's all in there too.
Shawn, I think Twilight Struggle is a fantastic game that belongs on the shelf of every serious gamer.
Oh, well, right, I couldn't agree more, Cody, but I gotta be honest with you, I still don't feel like this review has really encompassed my deep and passionate feelings for this game. You know, feelings that can really only be conveyed through maybe the power of song. You know? Power of song.
Okay.
Oh, there's a game, oh, what you play it for? It's for having fun and learning about the Cold War. Your mind like a mental pack of sharks will be putting people in their place like Karl Marx, spreading influence across the globe in one of the best stories ever told. Twilight Struggle, play it on the double. Communist troubles, Twilight Struggle. Some Jews would rather stay home with their girlfriends and snuggle, but I'd rather go and play Twilight Struggle.
So Shawn, I guess our recommendation for Twilight Struggle is buy it.
Buy it!
Buy it.
Oh, Justin, I've misjudged you.
Yeah.